to future movements in the paddock in 2016. Will we see a lot more moves than perhaps we anticipated at the beginning of the season? Why don't we start with David, because there's been a bit of chat around him for next year, hasn't there?
Yeah, it is. Even before his race win on Sunday, I spoke to people at the Brad Jones Racing stable, and they revealed that they've shortlisted Dave as a potential candidate if Fabian does move on. Now, of course, they do want Fabian to stay as part of the team, but they are aware that he's having a look around and examining his options, so his name has been mentioned there. Now, in terms of Dave, his team was super impressed with his win yesterday. Now, we've just talked about his mental state, and there was a few things that were thrown at him during that race that led his team to think that he's in a really great headspace. Number one was that he was sent in early with a tyre problem, and he went out and he got on the radio and said, "When's my next stop?" They said, "You haven't got one, mate." He went quiet, then they looked at his data for the next 5 or 6 laps, and he was right where he needed to be, looking after his tyres, conserving. And also at the end there, he may have backed off a little bit to put Chad in his dirty aero, which we thought Chad was gaining on him. But actually it might have been a little bit of a masterstroke in terms of strategy, putting him in a bit of dirty air and throwing his tyres off. But either way, he's impressed the team, he's impressed his sponsors, and let's hope that this does enough to get him a new contract with his team. Now, would you like to see him in your stable, Frosty? Yeah,
he's good. He's a great guy to work with. He brings, a different perspective to the table, but it's a tough sport. We've got Cam Waters who,
knocking on the door,
he's knocking on the door, but he deserves a drive. Cam deserves to be in the main series, but if there's not a spot at our team, then he needs to go somewhere else. And Dave's proving that he doesn't want to go. He is driving for his career, I guess. The papers have said, but when you win races, you're the best in that race and in the category at that time. So how do you move a guy on that's just won a race? He's a good fit. He's been there a long time. Sponsors love him. Team love him. We love him. So, the thing's up to the team and what they want to decide. But, Cam Waters is someone who should be in the series, and if you've got a spot, Rick, you should be signing him up. He's a good young kid.
He's great talent. And this has been made clear to me as well as far as ProDrive's concerned. It is Dave or Cam. That's the only two they're looking at. So it'll be one of those two for that seat, which I think a few people will be interested in with the speed of the cars at the moment.
Is that tough, the driver negotiation side of the business for you? How do you find all that?
Well, it's easy because he drives and he owns it.
That's right, I know, but when others have worked for him,
talk to yourself in the mirror and say, "Rick, how are you going?"
That's fun. I like that. I like the sponsorship negotiation and the business dealings. You learn a lot from that side of things. I've always loved that when I was just a driver and not part of the team. I always looked after all my own affairs and enjoyed that part of it a lot. It's a little bit like the strategy of racing, for sure.
Have you got anything else?